Hey Richie, I come across your video in regards to your thoughts and comments regarding the AI and the ability for the demonics to communicate through said Sophia. And I think you're actually onto something. And what I would like to do, if possible, is just to provide some additional information toward that. I realize you guys know it all and everything on that stuff, a lot of it, but just for additional information to the audience. Back in the day, the spirits communicated through the medium and the seances and such as that. It was generally done by knocking on the walls and everything, and then come around 1886 to 1890, the invention of the planchette for the Ouija board. What I actually found out is two things that was interesting to me. One, they were attempting to devise a way to communicate faster than a simple knocks on the wall. And two, when they asked this planchette, what do we call you, it actually spelled out back Ouija, Ouija. So the spirits in themselves provided the name of the technology in order to communicate with them. Fast forward to 1920s, it's reported that Thomas Edison also wished to communicate with these so-called spirits entities, which I refer to as demonics. And the reason so being, it was after World War One. A lot of people had lost their loved ones and everything, and there was also an increase in a rise of spiritualism and the belief of talking to so-called relatives, which we know, of course, that's just false. Modern day, now we see it on TV. Everybody's trying to get a hold of these so-called entities across the veil. They're downloading them on the apps on their smartphones in order to try to glimpse them or communicate with them additionally. So what we continue to see is just a increase of technology for the sole purpose of communicating with these demonics. And then now we're up to D-Wave, in which you commented on your video, and I think you're right. This D-Wave is just another means of communicating via technology. The interesting thing about quantum computing and the way the D-Wave is set up, from my understanding, is it utilizes the C, C++, Python, MATLAB, but also it's a cloud resource over a network. So instead of having an individual computer with a so-called processor or multiprocessors, it's now networked together. It's using multiple computers via the network, which is all interconnected in order to, again, as before, increase that speed of communication between the entity and such. And then we move on to Sophia, the AI. And I think you're right. I think the same entities is communicating through this hardware slash software. Just another method of communication. Just on a sidebar, it's not a coincidence that Sophia is named due to supposedly the deity of wisdom or Mother Goddess, Goddess Asherah. I've heard some people refer to as Satan himself because he's the bringer of light, information, knowledge, wisdom. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the show Wisdom of the Crowd, what do they also name that particular application setup hardware? He names it Sophie. So again, you have wisdom within the crowd, networking, pulling everything together in order to create that information per se. But back to Sophia and the AI. I was thinking about this when I was watching your video. Do you remember back in the day when we used to have to basically use the modem in order to connect to the internet? It was pretty lengthy, 14.4 baud rate as I recall. It increased to 28.8 and it just got faster and faster before it actually now fiber optic moving forward. And I think this is the same thing that's happening with this AI. There's a little bit of delay between the communication from one side to the other, and as they continue to increase the speed of the network around the world with the 5G and etc., then again, that communication is only going to increase exponentially. So just want to put that out there. Appreciate your time and everything on this. I'll leave the references, links also underneath them on the video. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, you can call. Just contact me through the YouTube. I'm going to open this up as far as a means of communication for all this information and everything going out, because I feel like there's just so much out there. And as you and Nicholson was talking the other night, I've heard you can only have a piece of it. And if I can just add any little piece of information to what you guys are greatly doing, then at least I feel like I contribute something toward this cause. Anyway.